Yo, I'm about to try something different. I already tried to record two other videos on another app. I'm trying a different app and hopefully I get to post. All right. But I want to talk about the war on gravity. All right. When it relates to our lives today, as humans, in the spiritual realm, if I can say it like that. Um, you hear them talk about, there's a war in the heavens. That's a war on gravity, right? They always, they talk about the fall, and then they talk about a rise, right? So this is it's all gravitational, man. And the same thing as living life. To fall takes no energy, it takes no real effort at all, but it takes effort to fly, right? Or it takes effort to rise, right? To fight gravity. So, um, how do how do you avoid the fall, right? Or how do you extend your wings and flap? First off, um, that where they say, when I say it's not easy or it's not hard at all to fall. Well, what are those forces that are that are gravitationally uh, helping you to fall, right? Um, I like to talk about those because they identify where your target of focus should be when it comes to uh, to changing your mindset. And this, that's the seven deadly sins. They originally started off as eight sins from Evagrius Ponticus. He was a Christian monk. You know what I mean? I thought that was an oxymoron, but he was a Christian monk, and he originally came up with um, eight deadly sins, and then um, Pope Gregory the First, he kind of what he did was he revamped them, and instead of eight, he made seven, and he said that pride was the main culprit behind all sin, which I can kind of understand where he was coming from with that. But all of that is just an attempt to relate to and identify with, their energy. When it comes to this energy, man, this energy isn't exclusive to everybody. You know, uh, energy, how to live a fulfilled life. It isn't exclusive to any person on this planet, right? Or no religion. It's not to nothing, right? No subscription at all, you know. But each region, um, came up with their way of articulating that. Then everything gets translated and things get lost in translation. And greed. Now it's like, no, this is mine. It's mine only. Nah, that's not, man. Life is here for everybody. If not, everybody wouldn't be born. You know what I'm saying? Um, humans humans relate to life a lot different than animals and trees in nature, right? But all the spirit is the same. It's all one pure spirit entering a body or an energy source that's going to translate that or process that in a different way. So, how do you identify with the process, right? The seven deadly sins. All right, let's look at it. Lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, pride. If you notice yourself leaning on any one of these characteristics, then that's a demon pulling you down, right? We're gonna call them demons, right? Demons want you to go down, right? So, the way to avoid that or to cut that weight is to identify it when it moves up on you. Like if you got to get up and go to the gym, and you're like, man, your mind is saying go to the gym because you're up, right? But your body is saying, nah, I just want to lay in the bed. Yeah, they're talking to each other. So that's the war. That's the war on gravity. That's the, this is your heaven. So you got a choice. Uh, you gotta make a choice, because if the mind is oriented a certain direction, right, towards spirit, let's say, and the body is rebellious, you got a serious alignment issue. You got to align your spirit, mind, and body, so that y'all move in a unit, not as separate entities, but as one entity, right? We're the entity. God is an entity, right? So, you focus on that by identifying the seven deadly sins, and orienting your direction away from there. That'll help you align yourself. All right. So yeah, he said that pride. That's why I say pride goes before the fall. You know what I mean? All of this is um human beings' translation of the spirit of God, right? It's human beings. Yeah, human beings wrote it. It is inspired by God, but written by man. All right. I don't say that to. I'm not trying to discredit anything, because that's not what I'm here for. But that's an observation. Um, Christ said, orient your mind upward. Why? It's a war of gravity. In the army, we used to say there are no entrails on the ground. That what that means is, even if your gut, somebody else's guts are out on the ground, you looking at the ground, that's eventually where you end up. So the goal is to keep your mind focused above, keep your mind on your target or your mission, and your body will follow, right? Instead of you becoming a victim to death, the ground, as well as everybody else. Um, I'm looking at notes. I took some notes. Um, and then the Christ, man, the Jesus and the Christ. Um, so Jesus was the man, Christ was the mindset, Christ is the spirit. If Christ enters a pure human being, a pure individual, then it manifests just as pure as it went in, right? But if it enters, when the spirit enters a impure vessel, it manifests all the same. So your maturity is gonna highly dictate how much of this you're able to receive and manifest. So that's why he was calling he was calling everybody children, my child, because what does a child do, man? All of those sins, kids are, they're all about that, man. But that's a child, man. So what you gotta do, you gotta teach them. Your life is an investment. Your life is an investment. And I feel like today, the way they talk about Christ, man, they take away the accountability piece, right? They say Christ forgives you of all your sins, right? Yeah, he'll forgive you of your sins when you die. But what happens to those sins? Y'all know those sins carry on. They go into your next generation. They go into your next generation, right? So it's like, you battling sin, right? But you just give into it, right? You say, hey, God is gonna God is gonna forgive me of all of my sins, right? You die, right? But that example that you just set carries on to your next generation, right? But if you show a fight, right? When I say show a fight, I mean walk a righteous walk, and they see that, that's gonna go into that next generation, right? Kind of leaning on perfection. Nobody's perfect, but the goal is to be, right. But nobody can judge anybody during their walk. God say I'm the creator of good and evil. Right? He created man to rise. He created man to be above. Right? Why does he claim evil? Because man can become evil, and as a father, he has direct accountability for his creation. Right? Man had to understand this when they were writing, writing on tablets or writing on in caves or in the sand or wherever they were writing it. But the father had to take accountability for the actions of his son, for his sons. If I could say it like that, the good and the bad. He had to kick him out, but he said, "Hey, that's me right there." You know what I mean? So anyway, yeah. So he had to take responsibility for that. Same thing with us, or accountability for that. Same thing with us. We got to be accountable for every action we take. Every action we take has a reaction, right? And you can't manipulate the law of the universe, the law of God. You can't manipulate that. Oh, I said universe. Okay, hey, that's a translation, man. That's how it came out of me, right? I said how it came out of me. I'm a child as well. So, and that's how it manifests, from me. If there's something deeper than that, teach me. Um, yeah, sins are only forgiven if you don't follow them. That's the only way they're forgiven. If you die in sin, then you pass it on. It got passed on. And but yeah, and that message kind of contradicts what Christ was saying. You know, um, it totally is anti Christian. If you want to say it like that, but to die into sin means somebody else picked that up. That's what they call generational curse. But I ain't gonna go into all of that right now. But yeah, so yeah. Anyway, the bottom line, orient your mind upward, away from the world, right? Freaking Revelations, golly. So Revelations, they say, this will be against that and that'll be against this. And it's because we ignore sin, right? You ignore the sin for each generation, it rolls over until it rolls over. And now, what appears not to be sin is really sin, is because your mind has been rewired and rewired and rewired every generation, every generation, every generation, and it becomes the norm, right? So yeah, identify the sin, while we have the information to focus on. Identify the sin. You're gonna have to wake up from dream after dream after dream and realize that everything you've been told is a lie. Um, then change your lifestyle, man. Change your lifestyle. Change your generations, man. If you got kids, man, it'll change your generations. It'll change the generations you influence or affect. You know what I mean? You're an example. But yeah, anyway, that's all I gotta say. I wish you a lot of peace, love, and elevation.